guys, it's Cassara, and today I'm going to be doing my November week 1 reading vlog. So it is Sunday, November 3rd, and it's been about a week since I vlogged anything, which is weird for me because I'm used to vlogging. I like vlogging. I didn't plan on not vlogging last week. I had completely planned to have the 5th week of October reading vlog, but I didn't really end up reading anything. Like, I finished Best Served Cold, and that's about it. So I just decided to not vlog last week. Mostly because I didn't have anything to vlog about other than the ending of Best Served Cold, which I talked about in my reading wrap-up anyway. If you missed it, I'll link it up in the cards for you guys. So I was in kind of a reading slump. Like, I wanted to read things, I had planned to read some things, and I just didn't read anything. Instead, I did a bunch of other stuff, specifically Netflix. I watched a lot of Netflix last week, and towards the end of the week, I found myself watching Anne with an E, the Netflix series. There's 2 seasons of it, which is, of course, based off of Anne of Green Gables, and that made me want to reread Anne of Green Gables. So Friday night, I picked up Anne of Green Gables. Saturday morning, I finished it. So I decided to pick up Anne of Avonlea, which I finished Saturday afternoon. So I decided to pick up Anne of the Island, which I finished late Saturday night, last night. So I picked up Anne of Wendy Poplars, which I'm currently reading. Yeah, I have a problem sometimes, but like, I don't know, I just got really into it, which is weird because I read these books as a child and I loved them as a child, especially the beginning. I really loved the beginning of the series and I got a little bored towards the end. I completely understand why. I'm not gonna talk too much about Anne of Wendy Poplars as of right now. I'm like almost done with it though, like I'm near the end. I would say I'm about halfway through this one. Like, they're going by super quick. I feel like I could read each of these in like a couple of hours at the most. I'll probably do a video on this series later on this month just because I'm probably gonna end up reading all of them. Let's just be honest. I hadn't planned to do a reread of the series like anytime soon, but like it just kind of happened. Like, that happens sometimes, right? You just randomly decide to reread a series that you had no plans on picking up for like another 5 years or so. Like, it's fine. Anyways, Anne of Green Gables, for those of you who don't know, is kind of a classic children's book. It's about an orphan named Anne Shirley who's adopted by a brother and sister who need more help on their farm, basically. She was supposed to be a boy, and she wasn't, obviously, but she kind of convinces them to keep her, even though there was a mistake there. And she is a very imaginative little girl, and she just has all these romantic ideals. She does things like in the weirdest way possible. I absolutely love it. When I was younger, I hated Anne. Like, I absolutely hated her. I hated like pretty much everything about her, but somehow I still ended up reading the books. But like, as an adult, I feel like I have a better appreciation for like unique characters, and I like her more as an adult than I ever did as a child, which is weird, like super weird. Anyways, so Anne of Green Gables is like the first 4 years that she's with them, from like when she's 11 to 15. Anne of Avonlea is when she's teaching. So she is an adult, but she's not gone to college yet, and she's basically working her way to college. Oh, which by the way, something happens at the end of Anne of Green Gables, which was heartbreaking for me. Like, super, super heartbreaking. And I didn't expect it. Like, for some reason, I didn't remember it, but like, heartbreaking. And then Anne of the Island is when she's in college. So Anne of the Island is probably my favorite of all of these because Gilbert Blythe. Let's just be honest. If you've read the series, you know who Gilbert Blythe is. Growing up, I didn't read Pride and Prejudice, but Gilbert Blythe was my Mr. Darcy growing up. So like, love him to death. And Anne of the Island is just so good. Like, all of the good scenes between Anne and Gilbert are in Anne of the Island, and I love it so much. So yeah, ended up giving this one 4.5 stars, 4.25 stars, and 4.75 stars. I will give you more updates on that as I finish them. Hopefully I'll finish them before the 5th. Today's the 3rd, 4th, that's Tuesday. Hopefully I'll finish them before the 5th because I'm supposed to be getting the toll on the 5th, and hopefully I'll be able to get the audiobook for the Starless seed as well on that day so that I can start my new releases because I'm so excited for them. So it's Monday, November 4th, and I've definitely continued on with my binge read of the Anne of Green Gables series. So yesterday I finished Anne of Windy Poplars, which is the 4th book in the series. This occurs when she and her fiance are estranged for 3 years while he's finishing up medical school, and she's the principal of a school. I actually enjoyed this one more than I was expecting, because the first time I reread this book, I ended up DNFing the series with this book. I think part of it is just because Anne of the Island, the 3rd book in the series, is definitely my favorite book in the entire series. And then after that, I'm just kind of like, do I really need to read the rest of them? But I'm so close to finishing the series. I'm just kind of like, I really want to finish it. You know what I mean? I want to do a reread of it. And I love Anne in this book. Like, she's still her like childish self, and I love that about her. The book itself, there's not that much to it though. Like, it's like one of the longer books too, which is surprising, but there's not a whole lot going on in this book overall. So I enjoyed it, and I ended up giving this one 3.75 stars. So then I started Anne's House of Dreams, which is when they finally get married, which I enjoyed that. And this is like their first house after they get married. And this one is different because Anne definitely grows a lot as a character in this book in a way that like you really don't get some of those darker sides from her in the previous books, but like she gets this friend who definitely helps her grow a lot more, I feel like, in this book. And I feel like a lot of people have issues with this book because she's so different than who she was as a child. And yes, it might be because she's married now and things like that, but I enjoyed this one more than I was expecting to also. And this morning I ended up finishing this one, so I gave it 4 stars. So this morning I started Anne of Ingleside. I'm only 5 chapters in. I don't think I'm gonna finish this book today because I have to go to work today, obviously, unless I like come home, binge read the last of this book, which I doubt will happen, which makes me a little sad because there's 2 more books in the series before tomorrow, and tomorrow I'm getting The Toll, and I just pre-ordered the audiobook for the Starless Sea, so like I'm super excited to get to those, which I will definitely be starting them tomorrow. So I don't know if I'm gonna finish my reread of the series. I kind of hope that I don't think it's gonna happen, but it might happen later on in the week. You never know. I might go back to the Anne of Green Gables series. It definitely helped me out of like a reading slump, which was weird because I didn't expect the series to do that for me. Anne of Ingleside is the next book in the series, and this is when it starts moving on to the next generation. I remember that about this series. It starts talking about her children more rather than her, which is why I consider this like kind of children's classics, because now she's a married woman and she's getting into her middle ages, and the story is starting to run more with the children. And I mean, it did that a little bit in some of the previous ones, like Anne of Avonlea, for example. They brought in a set of twins so that it can follow the children, even though like Anne was still the main character of that one. I feel like starting with this one, she's not really the main character anymore. Her children end up being the main character. I'm only 5 chapters in though, so maybe I don't remember it as well as I think I do, and it changes, but we'll see. I think I did like this one. I think the only one in the series that I really didn't like the first time around was the last one, Rilla of Ingleside. So I don't know if I'm gonna get to that one, but I think I did still like this one, so I'm excited to see where this one's going. So it's Tuesday, November 5th, and I'm putting Anne of Ingleside on hold. I only have like 4 hours left in the audiobook for this one, and I haven't picked up a physical book yet. I've been listening to the audiobook for this one almost entirely. It is release day, and I got The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I went ahead and just got it on Audible because I tried to get it from my library and it said wait 14 weeks, and I was like, nope, that's not happening. I'm gonna start it today. So yeah, I don't regret it at all. It is so good. I'm really, really enjoying it so far. Like, it has the same vibe as The Night Circus, and like that atmosphere is what I loved about The Night Circus, and it has like kind of the same vibe, and I'm loving it so far. That being said, I felt like The Night Circus was one of those books that got better with age, if you know what I mean. The more times I read it, the more I loved it. So I feel like this first time around, I may not love it as much as I want to, but I feel like with rereads, I'll end up really loving this one also, because so far I actually am really enjoying the atmosphere and everything. So definitely excited to continue on with that one. I'm about an hour into the audiobook, but this guy just showed up at my door. It's The Toll by Neal Shusterman, which is the 3rd book in the Arc of Scythe trilogy, and it came out today also. And I have a few hours before I have to go to work because I work the afternoon shift, and I'm not gonna have time tonight to read. So I think I'm gonna crack this one open and start it now because I'm so excited for this. Like, the ending of Thunderhead was crazy, and I want to see how it continues. Like, I'm super excited to see where this book is going, because like Neal Shusterman definitely surprised me in this series a lot. Thunderhead was so different than I was expecting it to be after the ending of Sight. Like I said, the ending of Thunderhead was crazy, so I have no idea where this book is going. I mean, I have a little bit of an idea from the title, but not that much. So yeah, really, really excited about this. So I'm gonna go read this, and I'll check with you guys later. It's Wednesday, November 6th, and I made more progress on the toll than I thought I would. I am right about there now, page 152. I got through quite a few pages last night, even though I said I didn't have time. I really didn't have time to read, but I made time for the toll because I'm just like super excited about it. It's really good. Like, it keeps me guessing the entire time. It's very different from Thunderhead. Like, it's completely different, but like I kind of expected that from the ending of Thunderhead, and I'm really excited to see where this is going because I like the concepts that it's exploring. Like, I really love like all the different concepts that this book explores. I feel like I'm gonna have to do like a reread of the entire series just to talk about like the thematic things that this series talks about, but really, really loving it so far. Definitely enjoying it and definitely excited to continue on with this one. I don't have that much time to read today, but tomorrow, all day Thursday, it's gonna be like dedicated to the toll. I can already see it happening and I'm super excited for it. I also made quite a bit of progress on the Starless Sea. I'm about 40% of the way through the audiobook now and I am loving it also. It reminds me so much of the first time I listened to the audiobook for The Night Circus because it has that atmosphere that I just absolutely love. I kind of wish that I had read the physical book first and then listened to the audiobook, just because I don't know what's gonna happen, and like I don't know if I want to know what's gonna happen or not. Like, I feel like I want to know what's gonna happen so that I could just go ahead and enjoy like the writing, but at the same time, like, I want to just enjoy the experience. It's a great experience. I love the Starless Sea, like the experience wise, and that's another one that I do think I'm gonna end up rereading eventually. Like, both of these are probably gonna be favorite books of mine, and that makes me really happy. November 7th, I've spent pretty much all day reading The Toll by Neal Shusterman. I am almost done with it now. I am right there, page 480, now in part 5, and it is so good. I have about 150 pages left. I'm hoping that I can finish it tonight, so I'm gonna try and finish it tonight, and I will talk about it more when I finish it. But so far, like, it's really good. Like, I'm really enjoying like all the twists and turns and everything in this book, and I'm really excited for the ending. So it's Friday, November 8th, and last night I finished The Toll by Neal Shusterman. It was so good. I love so much about this book. So obviously this is the third book in the Arthur Sight trilogy. This series takes place in a world where technology has basically evolved to the point where humanity has conquered death. So there's this group of people called Scythes who are basically population control, and their job is to kill people in order to keep the population under control. And this series is fantastic. I absolutely love this series, and the ending is amazing. I loved every second of this book. Like, I could not stop reading this book. The only reason I didn't finish this book faster was because I had to work for most of this week, but I probably would have finished it in like a day and a half if I had been able to read it just straight through. And this is a huge book. Like, it's a lot bigger than I thought it would be. It's like 600 something pages, and I absolutely loved it. There are so many different story threads, and the way that they're structured was just done so perfectly. I absolutely loved the way this book was structured. I still love all of these characters, especially the Thunderhead. For those of you who don't know, the Thunderhead is the artificial intelligence that basically administrates this world for everyone, and it's amazing, and I love it. And just everything about this book, so good, so good. It has tons of great action. I love these characters. It's one of the most interesting worlds that I've ever read, and I love this world. I love all of the politics that it's in this book, and just, yeah, just everything. I kind of wish this was an adult series and not a YA series, just because I feel like occasionally at times I feel like it's being held back by the fact that it's only following the teenagers and it can't really follow the adults as much. but I still really, really loved it, and I gave it 5 stars. Probably one of my favorite series that I read this year. So while I was finishing that, I just felt like I wasn't giving the Starless Sea as much attention as I would normally give it, just because I was also reading The Toll at the same time. So I decided to switch my audiobook back to the Anne of Green Gables series, just because I didn't have the audiobook for The Toll, and there are times when I can listen to audiobooks but I don't have time for physical books. So I ended up finishing Anne of Ingleside on audio. I enjoyed this book to an extent. The first like 75% of this book I was just kind of meh about. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. You know what I mean? I was just enjoying the tales. I liked like the very last chapter, like the very last, it might have been more than one chapter. Like that's when I was like, oh, I'm feeling this book again. So I ended up giving this one 3.25 stars. I probably would have given it 3 stars, maybe even 2.5 stars if it hadn't been for that last chapter, but I did really, really like the last chapter of this book. And I've started Rainbow Valley. So Rainbow Valley is where the book's really not about Anne at all. It's about her children now. It's okay so far. Like, I feel the same as I kind of did for the first, like, 90% of Anne of Ingleside. Like, it's fine. I'm enjoying it. It's really good to just keep my mind off of things when I'm doing like tasks that are somewhat mindless. That's why I'm enjoying this. I'm listening to the audiobook right now. I might switch to the physical though, because I want to listen to the audiobook for the Starless Sea, and I don't currently have another physical book, so I'll probably finish this one physically and I will listen to the audiobook for the Starless Sea while I'm reading this one. So that is my plan. I did make a teensy bit of progress with the Starless Sea, but I had kind of put it on hold a little bit until I could finish the Toll. And now that I finished the Toll, I will definitely get back to the Starless Sea, which I am loving so far. I absolutely love. It is Saturday, November 9th, and this morning I finished The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. It was so good. I really, really enjoyed it. This book has like kind of the Night Circus atmosphere, but it also reminded me a lot of Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I think it's because it also has like this college atmosphere and this like library atmosphere that I really loved. It's about stories, which is like one of my favorite like themes to explore in books. So like I really enjoyed that aspect of it, and I feel like content-wise, I like it more than the Night Circus, but I do feel like I liked the writing in the Night Circus more than in the Starless Sea, which makes me a little sad because I really, really wanted to like the writing. Like I've mentioned previously in this vlog, I think that like when I finally do a reread of this book, I'll end up loving it even more than I did this time around. I think right now, partially because I was reading The Toll, which I was super, super into, like plot-wise. The Starless Sea didn't grab my attention as much as it normally would, just because plot wasn't that big of an aspect of this book. But I love the atmosphere of this book. Like, I liked the characters, but I felt like I didn't know the characters that well. So I feel like with a reread, I'll know the characters a lot better. And as you guys know, I love Erin Morgenstern's writing style. It was beautiful, and I really, really enjoyed The Starless Sea. Also, I really like the audiobook. They say it's like full cast, but I would call it like semi-full cast. And a lot of times I don't like full cast audiobooks just because the way the dialogue goes back and forth and stuff just sounds stilted to me usually, but I loved the way the audiobook was narrated because there are like different storylines and different like actual stories throughout the entire novel, and each story had its own narrator, and I think it worked out really well and I really enjoyed it. So I ended up giving it 4.75 stars. Last night I actually did end up finishing Rainbow Valley by Ellen Montgomery as well. So this is the 7th book in the Anne of Green Gables series. I enjoyed this one more than Anne of Ingleside. Like, this book stops pretending that it's following Anne at all because it's completely following her children. But like, this book didn't even really follow her children. It followed like the friends of her children who lived nearby, if that makes sense. Her children and those friends all play in Rainbow Valley. Honestly, like, I had a lot of fun with this book, a lot more than I was expecting. I still feel like it kind of went nowhere. I mean, it did go somewhere, but like at the same time, it kind of went nowhere. I think what's really interesting about these books is that like each individual character is a whole person. They're not necessarily likable. A lot of these characters are not likable, but I like them because they're not likable, if that makes sense. And I did really enjoy this. And while it wasn't what I was hoping hoping it would be because I love Anne and I want more books about her. I still really enjoyed it, and I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. So it is Saturday and I haven't started this book. So this was my unwrapped book for the week, Walk on Earth a Stranger by Carson. I just have had no desire to pick this book up, like zero desire, even though if I don't get to 50% of it by the end of the day, I'll have to unhaul it. I do have a save every month, so I can save this book because I don't plan on picking this book up today. I don't want to read it. So I'm gonna let you guys decide what I do with this book. So I'm gonna put a poll up in the cards for you guys so you guys can decide whether I'm gonna save this book and keep it and give it another chance like sometime in the future. So I'll probably end up rewrapping this book to go back on the shelf, or if I should just unhaul it and call it a day. The last thing we have to do before the end of this vlog is to unwrap my book for next week. So I got Ferris by Carson Levine, who is the author of Ella Enchanted. I'm excited for this actually, because this is a book that I meant to read as a child after I read Ella Enchanted because I really loved Ella Enchanted, and then I just never got around to it, and it's been on my shelf for a while. It's a children's book and it's fantasy, and I love Carson Levine, at least what she did with Ella Enchanted, so I'm excited to see what this is about because I have actually no idea. So yeah, I'm actually kind of excited for this one. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I post videos frequently in this channel, so consider subscribing. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up to support my channel. All social media links are in the description down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.